you know what? We've got to count ourselves pretty lucky. Up here in Queensland at Parklands Motocross Track, Kenilworth, with the reigning, or 2019, Australian Motocross champion, Todd Waters, and had the opportunity to come out here and ride some of these Husqvarna 2022 model motocross range. So we had, well, we've only got the 250, 450 here. We also had the 350. So, hey Todd, I want to throw it out here to start with, mate. Just looking back over the last couple of weeks, we were talking a bit about it, the differences. A lot of people assume that, you know, race bikes now for a guy your elite level is so different. You know, they look different from standard production bikes, but wasn't up at King of Capricorn, and then last weekend, what was that, the state title? Yeah. You won on a pretty much bone stock 52-stroke, right?
It was bone stock. It had my enduro suspension in it. So we just chucked in my enduro suspension, FMF pipe on it, and just turned up. So we claimed the win in both the King of the Capricorn, and then we raced MX2 class the next weekend at the state titles. And we had some national riders there from Yamaha, and we won that one as well. So basically, just to give, you know, the viewers here a little bit of a rundown, obviously I'm a factory rider of Husqvarna. We wheel a bike out of a semi-trailer and it all looks, you know, really big and impressive, and people's first thing is like, oh, your bike's nowhere near like stock.
Unobtainium.
Yeah, and you know, an actual fact is these bikes, that's why I ride for Husqvarna. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it in any way, shape or form. I've been through different bikes, I've raced for different teams, manufacturers. I had the opportunity to race for Husqvarna in Europe. And then when I come back the last time, I was just like, you know what, I'm getting pretty old. I'm just gonna ride what I want to ride.
30, mate, what do you call it?
Yeah, but that's old now, game. So I've jumped on board with Husqvarna because I love their bike. And basically, you know, we've got the 450 behind us here, we've got the 250 here. The thing that I really like about Husqvarna is if I'm riding a 125, a 250 or a 450, exactly the same shape, same chassis, same thing.
Interchangeable plastics.
Yep, everything's the same. So a 14-year-old kid can snap his mudguard off on a 125 and I can just go, oh, here, pull off my spare bike. So, but basically we haven't seen massive changes on the bikes this year, which I really like. I hate getting a new model and no parts fit, trying to adjust the bike. So my favorite thing about the shape of the bike is it's super wide at the back here. So as you can see, the plastics flare out at the back on both sides, and they act exactly like steg pegs.
Which is what they did in 2019. In fact, it's pretty interesting because you started riding for Husky in 2019, which is when I guess the last generation. As you say, these are the sort of fourth evolution of that 2019 model, which was a big change to frame, engine, chassis, the whole bit. So what's new on these ones? Not a lot, mate. There's, but I think the big thing, and I know it's had a Magura clutch, I want to say since 2016. Yep. Which not everyone was a fan of. They had a few seal failures and whatnot. And I think you've always gone back to a Brembo clutch because you just like the feel of the thing. But you know, the standard bikes have gone back to a Brembo clutch. So you've got Brembo both sides of the handlebars now. Yeah, so the reliability is the major key point of the Brembo, but also the way that it works. It's really progressive. It's got a nice feel about it. Whereas I felt that the Magura is very on-off. I had to run the lever right out to be able to pull the bike up, and then it just sort of went on me. Whereas I can adjust the Brembo really close to my finger, and it still feels quite progressive. So it's been around for a long time, the Brembo clutch system, and it works. I don't know why they moved away from it, because Magura obviously hasn't done any, you know, I think it's been a supply volume issue, but the enduro bikes this year as well for 2022 have moved away from their Magura brake and clutch, you know, their brake tech unit. So, but not a lot else different from the bike this year. A little bit of work on the suspension settings, a little bit of work on the, you know, the trimmings and graphics and bits and pieces. But I wanted to ask you, the air fork, you know, that it sort of seems to polarize opinion. You know, I had a crack at these tracks and probably jumped bigger than I normally had flat landings today. And I was really impressed, you know, so I didn't get squirrely. It's quite a hard pack. I really like the feel of the things, you know, not harsh, but also like really good bottoming resistance. But I'm not half as fast as you. So what do you think? If a pro guy gets on these air forks, what do you, with standard pressures and everything?
Well, what the difference is if you ride my bike, you'll go, that's the most horrible bike I've ever ridden. You know, because it's stiff as a rock and you can't do anything about it. Whereas the air fork, that's a beauty with it. Today here we're seeing quite a hard pack track, so you want good feel in the front, and that's what we felt. And then we go to a deep sand track, let's say Coolum, you just add a bit more air pressure, that acts as a harder spring, which holds the front up. Happy days.
As the track evolves throughout the day.
So that's the...
Or if you're sharing bikes like at a track.
Yes, exactly. So that's a great thing about the adjustability of the air fork is you literally just pump the thing up and you can go up the spring rates on it. So what we've seen little bit different internals on it. I felt that the bike was a lot more progressive. I felt in the past that it felt quite stiff and it would blow through the stroke. Whereas I feel like it's got a good feeling, like this is rock hard around here. And I felt like I had a nice feeling coming into turns, but I did some big over jumps and it held up. So I definitely feel that that's a positive with the internals of the suspension. But like I say, the air fork, most of the pros, you ask, like I know Luke George down in Newcastle, he's been away for racing for a long time, but you speak with him, he's a top rider and he loves the air fork. And I have no problem at all with it. I think it's great.
So talking about adjustability, something I think people probably don't use enough. You know, you've got the dual map, the map 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Map 1's your standard, then you've got aggressive and you've got the traction control. So from a guy like you, do you get on these standard bikes and go straight to map 2, the aggressive, because you know you're going to want every bit of power you can get? And that's question 1. And question, do you use traction control and where do you feel that intervention?
So funny enough, we put this on my race bike and I've been using it quite a bit. It's got a start map in it as well.
Yeah.
So that's, that just cuts it at an RPM, hold the thing wedged and yeah, let go of the clutch and it pretty much, I think it holds for a few seconds and goes into full power, maybe when you click third. But map 1 and 2 is super helpful. So for example, here today, it's very hard pack. So you put it on map 2 and you go, oh yeah, I got full power, but I'm just spinning up everywhere. So map 1 gives you the ability to just press that and it tames it down that little bit and makes the bike drive. And then on top of that, you got traction control, which is really fun to use.
But some people say that intervenes right from the get-go. My experience is it's only when you need it, it intervenes, right? Where it's like, whoa! And that's when it's sort of saving your ass. And it doesn't dull the curve right up to that point, right?
Well, I thought when they put traction control on a motorbike, I was like, nah, that can't work. I honestly thought it'd be like a car. You try and, you know, put your foot down and get the thing to slide and it just cuts out and you start going, whoa, you know. It's not that at all. What it actually does is you come out of a turn and the thing starts to light up and it just almost feels like you put the back brake on. Like it just goes bah and makes the thing drive. So it's actually really fun to use coming onto start straights or places like that, flat turns where you get on the gas. Instead of having a bike with map 2 where it's full power and the thing's just going, wah, 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 you're trying to control it here, you literally just start to roll the bike on and as it starts to spin, you can open it up and it almost starts to just dull the power and keep that bike driving. So it's almost like using your throttle like this, except you've got the thing wide and it's doing it for you.
Like a MotoGP rider, just hold it open, eh?
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. I think it's great how they've come up with that.
Got to ask you, you've tested the 3 bikes today, 250, 350, 450. Great to have that versatility, you know. It's I mean the KTM group with all their range now, I think including the gas Husky and KTM's got that 350, you know, that none of the Japanese guys do.
Yeah.
Why don't they? You know, like is it good? It's for the average guy who can't hang on to a 450 for more than a few laps.
Yeah.
Isn't it a no-brainer to have the 250 in the range or as an option?
Oh, massive. The 350 is a huge advantage for the Husqvarna brand. For me, going onto a 250, so much fun. I just have a ball on the thing. That's what people don't understand. Like I ride a 450 because most can't. That's why I ride a 450. Doesn't mean I like the thing. You know, like I do enjoy the 450. It's got lots of power. It does make me smile.
And you're strong and fit enough to hang on to it for a 30-minute motor.
But like last year when COVID hit, I jumped on Regan's 250 that we built for him. I haven't been on 250 since 2012.
Regan Duffy you talking about?
Yep. So 2012 I haven't been on 250 for, so I go and race the King Capricorn. And so I hop on the thing during the week. Long story short, I do a practice qualifying, I go out on 250, I go as hard as I can, and then I go out on the 450 and the lap time's slower. I'm going around going, that can't be right. Jason's taking the piss out of me. You know, and I pushed like never before on the 450 to pretty much match what I did on the 250. So that just goes to show that
that's swing and dig versus stopwatch, right? Yeah.
A 450 is so heavy. And the thing that I feel, 250, when I ride 250, I go, oh my God, it's got the best tires on I've ever ridden with.
Yeah.
Can't get them to slide out. You want to go fast. You come into a turn and you go hard, and when you back the throttle off, because they're light, they don't have the engine inertia. To tell you the truth, between 2 models, they're almost the same weight, but when you ride them, you'd swear this has 10 kilos on it, the 450, sorry. So when I ride 450, when you back the throttle off, the thing wants to pick up, the front wants to slide. Then when you get on the gas, the thing's it wants to crash. You got to come out and go, right, and be precise. 250, man, you just hang off the thing going, come on.
Having said that, I can't believe that stat you told me. When you won your title in 2019, you did not crash all year. Super pole, qualifying, race, you know?
Yeah.
So And you're on a 450 with lots of power. So, you know, and that was the first year when you got on Husky.
Yeah, well, for me, the bike is super balanced. Like, straight away, the first thing I noticed is the foot pegs. The foot pegs are quite high off the ground and they're quite far back opposed to other brand bikes. So that gives me room to work with. The handlebars are up here. I'm not a small dude, but I'm, quite big. So I'm 80 kilo rider. So it gives me room on the bike. And when I come in the turn, they're so stable. I pull tear-offs coming in the turn. A lot of other bikes, they do magazine tests and stuff like this. Oh, this brand of bike, it turns so well, it turns so well. I don't want a bike to turn well. When I'm going through Coolum sand, I don't want to turn. I want to lean. I want the bike to go straight, and I'm wedged like this, and I pull a tear off, and then I go, it's time to go this way. So I just lean in. That's what this thing is. It's so stable in the front end. And that's what I really like about it. So that's, in a nutshell, we haven't got major changes, which I'm happy about, because I think that they have nailed this model of bike. And overall, forks, that's a really sore spot here in Australia, air forks. You've got to put spring conversions in it.
Well, the Japanese brands went to an air fork and then ditched it again, right? Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I've seen in Europe, Leok, he raced World GPs on Husqvarna, and he was developing spring fork in the World GPs. I mean, air fork, sorry. And he prefers them over spring. And I've heard a lot of people going that way. And to tell you the truth, we're ripping around here, and if I didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't even know that it's an air fork, because I'm the same.
So mate, you're a Husqvarna rider, saying good things about Husqvarna. Let me put you on the spot here. You got the design team from Austria just sitting over there, and just like, you've had a couple of beers, and you're like, what am I going to finally tell them? Here's what I really want. Here's something's been on my wish list. Is there anything like that on these machines for you?
Like something
that you would want, something that they could really improve on,
Yep. So for me, I love the feel of the bike, the way that everything works, but the one thing for me is the seat cover. So for me, the seat cover is quite slippery.
But they went from that diamond one that ripped the arse out of your pants, back to this, back again, they keep going.
Yeah, so for me, like, that's the biggest thing I notice. I ride the bike, and then when I hop on my bike, it's just, your bum is just stuck to the seat. And then when you go back to this, you slide so much. So that's like, and that's a very small change. For me, like, the thing's got ODI hand grips, it's got all the good stuff on it. Brembo, front and back, like the braking is insane.
Clamps.
For me, like, the biggest thing, like, I've been with Husqvarna, like, I made the change to Husqvarna in the World Championship in 2014 and rode in 14, 15, 16. And the biggest thing that they've changed is the front end here. As you can see, it's quite up and it feels out. And that's what I talk about, the stability of the Husqvarna. That's what I really like about it. When you stand on it, you just feel comfortable. So from a chassis, from everything, man, I love the thing. Like, just change some sticker kit stuff if you want.
And put a T-dub thing on the side. By the way, mate, nice effort. I love the matching ensemble here with the T-dub gear. You've got a custom made just to match the Husky out here, mate. That's commitment. I like that.
Oh, at the start of the year, I thought I'd make a T-dub kit to look like I'm part of the Husqvarna crew, and I've been waiting all year for the 22 launch, and it's come. So I got to showcase my gear.
That's awesome, mate. Well, listen, there's no Motocross Nationals at the moment, which is a real bugger. We understand why though, but great to see you ripping into the state events, and I know you're doing, on your coaching program, you're loving that. You're so passionate about the sport. So, hey, thanks so much for coming out, mate. It was great to see you tear the bag out of that track today, and you still got it, mate.
Nah, cheers, Andy. I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Good.